The Nintendo Switch 2 isn't even out yet, but how do you predict where demands will explode first, right? So in this video, I'll step into the role of a product analyst working with Nintendo Switch 2 pre-sales team to analyze regional pre-order patterns and customer segmentation. So, and I'll be using Python to leverage historical pre-sales transaction data to extract meaningful insights that can guide marketing strategies. So, welcome to day 5 of the Python Summer Party. If you are new here, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel. Check out my previous video. This is day 5. We have day 1 to day 4, and we are on the streak to 15 days. Wow. So subscribe so that you can stay tuned for the rest of the days. Let's get right to the video. So the first thing we're going to do to tackle this assignment, we have our data set here already. So I'm going to run this code. Okay, just to be sure, I think it has run. Okay, we're good to go. So we have question 1. What percentage of records have missing values in at least one column? So we have to handle the missing values so that we have a clean data set to work with. So I'm going to create a code cell. So first of all, like we always do, I'm going to comment what I'm going to do. I want to calculate. That's the first thing I want to do, calculate the percentage of the record with at least missing value, right? So I'm going to label it missing mask. Should be equal to, I'll check for the table, the pre-sales data table that we have here. Is null? The function call is null. Function call is null there. So any now what this does is that this helps me check the whole data frame and returns true wherever I have a missing value, and if there's no missing value, it will return false. So, and the reason I have is any as one here is true is because I want to check if at least one column of that row has a missing value. So, but it will return false if it has no missing value. And this, my variable, is going to return a Boolean value, a Boolean series, whether true or false, right? So the next thing I want to do, count, so missing count, call it missing count. So missing mask sum. I want to add up all the truths. Basically, the true is treated as 1, the false is treated as 0 in Python. So when I'm summing my missing mask variable or column, it's going to add up all the truths and give me a singular value. Another thing I want to get is the total number of rows that we have, total length. So there's a function called length. Okay, so this returns the total number of rows in my data frame, right? So now I'm going to calculate the percentage of the missing rows, right? Percentage of the missing count. So missing count is this divided by this, right? That should be the percentage of the missing, those missing. So I'm going to come next line. So missing percentage. So it's basically, I have the missing count already, which is the number of those that are missing divided by the total length, or I could use total count. Let's use total count. Okay, multiply by 100%. So now let's print out missing percentage. Okay, so our missing percentage is, as you can see, we have 6.6. So now I'm going to return the formatted message for my results. So I'll use the formatted string with the F double quotes, right? I said the percentage of records with missing values is, so I'll put this in phrases. Let's check this out. Okay, this double quote should be outside here. Good. So I want to format the missing percentage, right? So I'm going to do that. I'm going to first of all put it in 2 decimal place. So I'll put .2f. This means it's a floating point number and it's in 2 decimal place. Let's see. Then I'll attach the percentage outside. Let's see what we have. Good. So with this now, I was able to format our results. So the percentage of record with missing values in at least one column. Values. Let's add that in at least one column is. So let's run that and see. Good. So the next thing we want to work on is to handle the missing values so that we have a clean data set to work with. So we want to handle the missing data missing values. So how do we handle this? Okay, we want to check out for the missing values, those that are missing values, and fill it up with unknown rather than just have it missing. Fill it up with unknown. So I'm going to call this categorical columns. Going through data sets, you will notice that we have just 2 columns that have missing values: the region and demographic group, right? So this is a function now. I'm going to loop through each column in the categorical columns. So how do I do that? I use the for loop. Right? So I'm going to say equal increases I'm going to fill unknown. So what I'm doing here is that I'm checking if the column actually exists in data frame. So I will prevent errors and also replace all the missing values in those columns with a string unknown. That's what I'm doing here. So I'm iterating through the data frame, the pre-sales data frame. So the next thing I'm going to do is to the date column also. We have some empty dates. So let's check. So what I did here was I basically fill categorical columns with unknown, right? But what I'm going to do here now is to fill the date column with a placeholder, right? Placeholder date. Okay. So this particular place is to handle the missing values in the date column. So I'm going to check first of all if the pre-order dates So what I'm doing here is I'm checking if the pre-order date exists. Pre-order date, I'm checking if it exists. So if we check our data, pre-order dates, checking if it exists. If it exists in this table in the column. So what do I do if it exists? I want to convert the column to a proper date time, right? So what we do. So pre-order date. So I want to convert it to date time. So what I did here now is to convert this column to a proper date time format. So, and if it returns errors, we should turn every error into a malfunction date. That means it's not a date time, missing dates, right? So we have that. So we are going. So now I want to replace the missing date with a placeholder date, right? I want to replace the missing date with a placeholder date. So we just to access my date, access a column. So I'm going to replace all the missing values with a placeholder date. So fill the timestamp. So I'm going to put in double quotes 1990 O1 dash O1, right? So that's that. So I was able to fill up the missing dates with a placeholder date. So let me put it here. Okay. So the next thing I want to do is to fill up numeric. Fill up every numerical column with median. I mean, the empty numerical columns, I fill it up with median. So how do I get that? First of all, I have to check if the column exists. You know, the reason why we do all these checks is just to avoid errors. So now if you check our column, we have the pre-order quantities. I'm going to just copy it. So it's going to check through the data frame. Wherever we have an empty pre-order quantity, it will replace it with a median across board. So we are getting there. Sales data, right? So the column, I'm checking the columns just the way we checked the previous one. Okay, sorry about that. Now I want to fill it up. Now this is how we get it done. Data. So I'm going to access the other quantity. So I'm going to replace just the same way we did this. So fill and A. So what are we filling with? We're filling with the pre-ordered quantity median. So how do I get that? So I have to access the pre-orders there. So get it like this. Then dot median. Let's check it. Function median. So sorry, it's giving the error because I'm entering. So what I'm going to do, let's print out our table. Sales data. Okay, let's see the error. Columns must be the same length as key. Okay, let's double check. Let's be sure. Okay, that was an error there. Where else? Let's check. Okay, so we're supposed to have column here to fill up. That's the first error. Good, corrected. So we missed that part. It's be a column here. So if we were to look through, wherever we have errors or empty values, we would have filled it up. Like we see here, the unknown is here now. We have unknown here because here was actually empty, but it's currently filled up. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is optional. It's optional. I want to drop any rows that still contains missing values. Probably they were not covered in everything we did. So I'm going to drop it. So how do I do that? So I'm going to say the sales data plain. there's a function called drop NA. So what this does, it drops any missing value that is still currently in our data frame. So we're good to go. So question 2. I'll generate a code cell. So the question is, using the clean data, calculate total pre-sale orders per month for each region and demographic group. So now we're going to be using this clean data set, right? So let's get right. So first of all, I'm going to ensure that the date time column is actually a date time column. Currently we have a string. That's what we have a string. So I'm going to convert it to a date time. So I'll convert date column to a date time. So I'm going to do that as okay. Remember, I'm working with the clean, right? So I want to check out the pre-ordered dates, all the pre-ordered dates, to replace it with, convert it to date time. So the next thing I want to do is to get out, to extract my year month, extract my year month. So I'll call, like, creating a new column called order month. Yeah. So that should actually be good. Okay, this is how you get out the month. So let's just get out the month, because the question is looking at orders per month, not per year month. So we're getting at the month alone, right? Extract my month. So with this, I'm able to extract to period is a function, and the M is signifying month, Y year, D day. So as a type string, right? I need this month as a string because it's going to be month in words. I need it as a string. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to group and aggregate my data set. So I want to call it the monthly orders. So I want to access the pre-sales data clean table and group it by the function called group by. So I want to group it by, first of all, the region, right? Secondly, the demographic group. It's going to be the order months. Now I'm going to remove this other month, the other month here. Then be as index. I want it to be as index. Be false. Yes, I want that as index. So now, what is my aggregate value? Okay, let's bring this to the next line. The aggregate value is the total pre-order. So I'm going to look at, I'm summing up every pre-order quantity. And if I'm carrying out the sum function, right? Okay. So let's see. I think I still need to close a bracket. Okay, let's see. It's an error somewhere. Okay, I have to open this brackets. Close it. Good. So let's print out our sales data currency. Okay, it's giving an error. Let's check what we did one after the other. Now the error is saying pre-sales data is not defined. Okay, there should be an error somewhere. Okay, I think it's this. Good. Excellent. Okay. So let's print out our monthly orders. Let's see. Okay, so we are able to group the region, the demographic group, and the other months, and sum up the total orders, order quantity, as you can see. So, like the question says, use the clean data set to calculate the total pre-sales order per month for each region and demographic group. Now, the last thing I'm going to do is to reshape this solution. So I'm going to pivot it. Pivot to reshape. So I want the month as column instead, right? Now let's see how to carry that out. Monthly orders pivots. Pivoted, which is that word. So I'm going to work with my monthly orders table. So I'm going to pivot. There's a function called pivot table. Pivot table. So first of all, okay, so just to ignore that error. Ignore pivot table. So first of all, I need the index. What is my index? Region and also demographic group, right? So my column I want to work with is the order months. Right. So the value, if you remember your Power BI, you have your column, you have your rows, you have your values. So the values, I'm going to work with the total, like the total pre-orders, right? Then fill value when it's empty, table 0. So I'm going to reset index. So we have 4. Now let's print out what we have here already. It's monthly. See, okay, it's an error. Let's check it out. Okay, there should be a comma here. Should be a comma here. Good. So hide this. Okay, now we see 7th and the 8th. Now let's check out the two values and see the difference. Now I've commented out the monthly orders. This, you could see that we could separate the total orders per the month. For Asia casuals, for 7th is 4, for 8 is 8. But if I uncomment this, let's see what we have. We had them all together. You see, 7 8s, 4 8s. So basically, for Asia family, 7th is 4. The Asia gamer, 7th. So basically, we don't have any Asia family for 8. That's the meaning of this. So let's unpivot this. So you see there is no Asia family for 8. That's why we have 0. And that 0 is because we fill up this value with 0. So in case it's blank, but if we don't have this, let's comment it out. Let's check what happens. See, it's going to give n not a number. But we don't want this to happen. You see across board, those are empty, are giving us NaN. But instead, we want to fill it up with 0. Right? Best practice, fill it up with 0, and bam, we have our answer. So with this, like what it said here, we're able to calculate that pre-sales order per month for each region. So it depends on you how you want to show your data, either with this or pivoted. So I think any of them works. So we'll go to question 3. It says predict the total pre-sales quantity for each region for September 2024. Assume that growth rate from August to September is the same as the growth rate from July to August in each region. Okay, this is a little tricky, but we're going to tackle it. It's going to be quite some work. First thing first, I'm going to add up. Okay, I already have my code set. Excellent. So let's get right in. So the first thing I'm going to do is to ensure that my date is a date time. So I'm just going to copy what I have here. I'm just going to copy that. That's solved. So the next thing I'm going to do is to extract my months. I'm just going to copy this also. So another thing I'll do also, okay, let me just copy this because I'm also going to need to aggregate. So the reason I'm copying this and pasting it just to save my time. So here now I've been able to extract my other months. So now I want to aggregate the monthly total per region. So I don't want demographic group anymore, right? Because if you check it, we're working for each region, right? So region and months. That's why I'm working with my other months, region and months. So after getting this, the next thing, so region, let me call this total. So after getting this, the next thing is to filter for the July and the August 2024 data, right? To filter for July and August, because I want to first of all get the growth rate from July to August and use it for August to September. So I'm going to filter July and August. Okay, so I'm just going to call it July, August, so that is better explained. So our monthly orders total, So I want to access the monthly orders total. I want to access the order month. Order month. There's a function called is in, right? I want to check it is if these two dates I'm going to put in a bracket now are in it. So I'm using an array because I have two values, not just one value, two values. So I'm going to have 2024 dash. July is 7th, August is the 8th. So I'm going to work like this, comma, for the second date, 2024 dash 08. I believe this makes sense. So now we've been able to filter out just data sets that has July and August, right? What is the next thing to do? To pivot so that the month can be the column. I'm writing a comment so it will be easier for you to understand. So I'm going to pivot this July, August data set. So just write July, August. Let's pivot table. So remember what we had before, it's just the same principle. I'm just going to copy this, copy, and I'm going to paste it here. So, but right now we're working with region alone, so that means I don't need to put in an array. It's just a singular value. Then the other months is still there. Start with orders and fill up with 0 when we have empty values. So I'm resetting my index also. So the next thing I want to do, so we'll be able to pivot. Okay, we could actually check what we are working, how far we have come. Let's check out the results for the pivot July, August, right? So that we'll know if we're on track. So every data set here now is for those that are in the July and the August, right? So the next thing I'm going to do is to calculate the growth rates. So that we could use it to predict the August to September. To calculate the growth, to calculate right. Now basically, what's the growth rate? We could see we have 14 to 17. How many percent growth rate was that? So we need to have another column, growth rates. So that growth rate we get for each of the region is what will be used for the August to September, right? So let's take it step by step. So still working with our pivot July, August, I want to add in a new column and I'll call it growth growth rates, right? I call it growth rates. So basically, I want to assess pivots. Okay, I'm going to put this in a bracket because I'm working with two pivots where 2024. Remember, where the column is 2020, where the column is 8, like we have here, you can see. So I'm minusing it, so I'm going to get difference. That is 17.0 minus 14.0. That's what I'm doing now. So this is 17.0. So 14.0 is just to do the same thing, but I'm going to make it 2407. I believe it makes sense. So what we have here now is basically 17.0 minus 14.0. So the next thing I want to do is to divide it by the previous value, which is the 14.0. So I'm just going to copy this. Now we are also going to handle cases where we have a divide by zero case, right? So we have to put some measures in place to prevent that from happening. So we're going to have dot replace function, right? So I'm going to replace the floats, sorry, is floats. So dividing by zero, we're going to give us an infinity, or we have a minus floats, and also an infinity. So replace 0. So what this means is that if there's no value for July, probably the value is 0 or null, we should replace the growth as 0 instead of having an infinite value, right? Because probably if we have 0 here, by the time we start dividing, we're going to have infinite. So, but what this does, it will replace, instead of having an infinity, negative or positive, to replace it with 0. If I should run this code, I will see the growth rates, right? As you can see. So I've already added a column, so our growth rate is showing. Now, this is a positive growth rate. This is negative because 17 coming down to 10, that is a reduction. That is why we have a negative. I want to create a prediction for, so create a prediction for September, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to access my pivots July, August. So I'm creating a new column. I'll call it predicted 2024-09, right? So want to know what is it, what September will be if we are using these growth rates. If we have the same growth rate as the question said, assume the same growth rate from August to September is the same as the growth rate from July to August. So I'm going to create a new column. So my predicted September will be equals to about July, August. So I'm going to have a new column 08 multiplied by 1 loss, my growth rates. So pivots. Let's run this and see. you could see following these growth rates, we have 14, it moves of 17, now it's 20. But here 17, 10, 5. Following these growth rates. So it's reduced 41% to this year. Then 41% reduction again gives us this. Right? So we have been able to predict September's value. So what I'm going to do now is to format the growth rates as percentage. Right? Okay. So we've been able to format this. So we have 46%, 40%, 12%. So let's print out our final results. So you can now say the predicted September 2024 sales by region. So it's this. Okay. As you can see, we have our region, we have our July, our September, August, then this is the growth rate, then this is predicted September. Right? Good. So we've come to the end of this video. If you have any question, kindly drop in the comment section. Any place you need more clarity, kindly let us know. And see you on day 6. So if you're watching this channel for the first time, kindly subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much we've had over 100 subscribers so far. So thank you very much, and more to come. Stay tuned.